We do not want word to go out that we want to exterminate the Negro population. And the minister is the man who can straighten out that idea if it ever occurs to any of the more rebellious members. Margaret Sanger in a letter to Gamble, December 10th, 1939. Abortion's origins and eugenics. What are eugenics? What is it? Eugenics is a science that deals with the improvement as by control of human mating of hereditary qualities of race or breed, according to Merriam-Webster Dictionary. Famous eugenicist, Adolf Hitler is probably the most famous. And a policy of Rasenschande. Rasenschande, what that is, it literally translates into English as racial shame. And what it meant was Aryans were not allowed to mate with non-Aryans. This is an actual law. If an Aryan was caught, they'd be thrown in jail. The non-Aryan would be executed. This further led to a policy of Endlösung. Endlösung literally translates as the final solution. This was Hitler's plan to exterminate the Jewish population in the occupied German territories. We wound up in the murder of 6 million Jews. Margaret Sanger is the founder of Planned Parenthood. She had a project called the Negro Project. The Negro Project was a project designed by Margaret Sanger and other eugenicists of the time to limit the growth of the black population through sterilization and abortion in an effort to eventually, through lack of reproduction, exterminate the black population. She's famous for giving speeches about just such a subject to the Ku Klux Klan and was supported very strongly by them. Moral implications of eugenics. Recently there's been an article in the news about how Iceland has nearly eliminated Down syndrome in their country. The reality is it's not exactly true. They haven't eliminated Down syndrome. What they've done is they've eliminated babies with Down syndrome. This is where the moral implication with eugenics is it targets the feeble. Since prenatal screening tests were introduced in Iceland in the early 2000s, the vast majority of women, close to 100%, who received a positive test for Down syndrome terminated their pregnancy, according to CBS News. Genetic purity also targets the infirm. Terry Schiavo is a prime example of this. Assisted suicide. Jack Kevorkian here in Michigan would help people who were ill or for whatever reasons felt they didn't want to go on in life, and he would assist them with a machine to kill themselves using medical drugs. This cheapens human life when people are able to just quit whenever they want. Euthanasia is where doctors feel that somebody's life is no longer worth living. Charlie Gard's a good example. Terry Schiavo is another great example. Terry Schiavo was taken off life support and not fed and wound up starving to death, even though she could breathe on her own, and actually reacted when her parents came around. Her husband won a court case and he wound up killing her. Human rights implications. The Declaration of Independence says, we hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, and that they are endowed by the Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among those are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Abortion takes away your life, takes away your liberty, and it takes away your ability to pursue happiness for the child. Deliberate targeting of black babies. Margaret Sanger, founder of Planned Parenthood, said, we do not want word to go out that we want to exterminate the Negro population, and the minister is the man who can straighten out that idea if ever occurs to any of the more rebellious members. What she meant by that was, if they go to black churches and black ministers who the black community trusted, and they can convince the ministers of the right of being able to, how right it was to abort your child so it doesn't grow up in poverty or in crime areas or has genetic defects, then if they could convince the minister can convince the black population. Prime example of exactly this. Martin Luther King Jr. received an award from Planned Parenthood, and upon receiving that award, he said, there is a striking kinship between our movement and Margaret Sanger's early efforts. Margaret Sanger had to commit what was then called a crime in order to enrich humanity, and today we honor her courage and her vision. It's Martin Luther King Jr. in 1966. That's a prime example of how Margaret Sanger was able to corrupt the minds of good men into believing something wrong was right. Abortion statistics by the numbers. According to LifeSite, 79% of Planned Parenthood clinics are within walking distance of minority neighborhoods. 88% of clinics target women of color. 80% target black women in particular. 56% target Hispanic women. 80% target one or more college campuses. In total, 96% of Planned Parenthood clinics target women of color, college women, or both. Black women are 5 times more likely to have an abortion, according to LifeSite. Black women received 30% of the abortions in 2011, while blacks are only 12.6% of the population. Now let's take that 12.6% number into account here. That's 12.6 is the entire black population. So we'll take that, half that number is women. Of that half, another half, 1/4 of the total population, about 4%, are women of birthing age. So 4% is having 30% of the abortions. 94.3% of pregnant women seeking help from Planned Parenthood get an abortion. This results in 800 black babies being killed every day. Abortion has killed an estimated 17 million black babies since 1973. This is astounding considering the population of blacks in the United States is only 42 million. In comparison, the Holocaust only killed 6 million Jews. The government funding abortion through taxes. 250,000 abortions are funded by taxes every year. 70,000 are federal taxes. 180,000 come from state taxes. 24% of all abortions are funded by tax dollars, according to Forbes. How does Planned Parenthood circumvent defunding? Well, they do that through Medicare reimbursement. What they'll do is they'll charge to Medicare, Medicare will pay it, and then Medicare will get funding from the federal government. So while they're not getting direct federal funding, the funding's coming just through an indirect route. So how can we stop abortion? Well, the hide amendment's a good start. That prevents the direct funding of abortions. However, as I just demonstrated, that's circumvented fairly easily. But it is a good start and it's in the right direction. Removal of 501(c)(3) status as the tax exempt status that the Planned Parenthood has. If we get rid of that, then they'll have to start paying taxes, and hopefully that'll reduce the number. Educating young mothers about abortion and other options they have available, such as adoption. And the outright outlawing abortion, which it should be in the first place. Abortion, no matter how you cut it, is the termination of a human life unjustly, without committing a crime, without any other reason. The vast majority of abortions are out of convenience, and that has to stop. There are better options available. There's adoption. There are tens of thousands of families that can't have babies, or do have families and want more but don't want to actually have the baby, that will be willing to take those babies. Orphanage. I would rather my tax dollars go to an orphanage to have a baby have a chance to live at a life than to pay to kill it. Personal responsibility. Raise your child. You didn't plan on it. It happened. It was a rape. It was incest. These are all horrible tragedies, and they're not fair, and they're terrible situations, but they're not the baby's fault. The choice in all situations should be life. Thank you.